Speaker at the 8th National Assembly on International Relations. And of course, we'll be delving into political matters, dissecting Nigeria's political crossroads, its challenges, opportunities, and charting a way forward for the nation. Very good morning to you, Honorable. It's wonderful to have you in the studio with us.
Good morning.
And it is an honor as well.
Thank you.
Well, but when you came in, we were having a little chit-chat, and you seemed quite optimistic about the resolutions that we'll have here on the program this morning.
Absolutely.
Concerning our political landscape and the challenges bedeviling it at the moment, where it appears that the opposition party at the moment, the People's Democratic Party, is in disarray and isn't really functioning as a very strong opposition party that it is supposed to be against the APC in power.
Yes, in any establishment or institution, there's bound to be chaos. There's bound to be misunderstanding, and I think where PDP is at this present time is in that category. We were ruled by the PDP party for I think 18 or so years.
Yes, about 18, 16,
and
18 years.
Altogether, and we've seen our economy digress. We've seen changes in Nigeria. And I don't want to applaud that to PDP. I want to look at it as an economy situation. But in any society, in any government or establishment, there's bound to be that. And what is going on in PDP right now is power tussle, in my own opinion. Everybody wants to take their steps into align themselves to the next election.
Yeah, 2027.
Absolutely. So that's my take on that, and I just feel it's something that can be resolved. But the problem in PDP is not my problem.
well, it certainly isn't your problem. But before we still talk on those issues, let's tilt a little bit towards the issue of local government autonomy. Yeah, which is certainly a highly controversial issue in the country, with people like Senator Adams Oshomole making a very rather tricky statement yesterday, where he said that 774 thieves are better than one big thief, citing state governors as the big thief. In a situation like this, do you think that statements coming in from somebody of that caliber concerning the issue of local government autonomy, even though he is backing it, is quite appropriate in this kind of setting?
Well, Comrade Oshomole has his own way of expressing himself. But I don't think the comrade speaks for everybody in APC or for me as an individual, because that's those are words that were loosely used.
Yeah.
And that's what you get from online enlightened people. And I'm not speaking to derogate what Oshomole said, but sometimes we have to be very careful on how we use our words. When you say 777 T's or 770, that's the local government we have in Nigeria. Yes. I think that's inappropriate. I don't think we should have a government that will even think about embezzlement or thieving.
In any way.
In any way or form or shape, either 1 or 770. And that's why we're trying to change the narrative in Nigeria. But with that kind of mindset with Comrade Oshomole, who I truly disagree with, I think it's a language or words used inappropriately. I think Mr. President and Congress, which is the National Assembly, have done pretty well in mandating autonomy of the local government, because then we will have more governance in the local level, at the local level, to be able to establish grassroots, to be able to let the people in the locality feel the dividends of democracy directly and accountability. But I still don't see, in my own opinion, I still don't see the autonomy of the local government chairman to be able to actually run their economy and their own budget. And it's too early, but at least we should see some sign that they do have the autonomy.
Well, you think it's too early to start seeing the signs, or it's too early for the local government areas to have gained financial and administrative autonomy?
I think it's too early to see any signs of their activities. As you understand that when you give somebody an autonomy, you have to have directives and plans of how you will use your budget and how you implement your policies and procedures into the autonomy that you've been given to be able to effectively establish your administration.
Now, one major thing that Comrade Oshomole cited while speaking yesterday concerning the LG autonomy issue is that the local government council is responsible for paying primary school teachers' salaries, especially in local government areas. But somehow, without that financial autonomy, that duty has been relegated to the state government. His concern now, or one of his major concerns, is that if these monies or the federal allocation comes straight to the local government councils, will they be able to keep up with ensuring that they pay salaries meant for, teachers in primary schools? Now, this is just one of his many concerns.
I'm chuckling because I'm going back to what he said.
Okay.
770 thieves.
Yeah.
So what he's trying to say is there have been thieving within the government by governors in 36 states in the country. Basically, that is what he's saying. But why can't we give them the autonomy to at least do what they intend to do? If the governors of every state allocate their resources, or if their resources come directly from the federal arm of the government to go to the local government chairman to be able to run the local government, I don't see a problem with it, because then there'll be accountability.
Yeah.
The governor has a lot of work that he needs to do. The governor and the government of the day is looking after the state, but they're relieving and they're extrapolating the responsibility of the governor with the local authority. So the local authority will still have their autonomy, but still have to report to the governor.
Yes.
This is what we're doing at the local level. This is where we've gotten to. The salaries have been paid of everybody in the local government. So it minimizes what the governor has to do. But what I think Oshomole is worried about is maybe the piece of the pie is getting smaller.
Well, certainly the piece of the pie is getting smaller because at the state level, the governors would now have to make do with what the federal government has given to them directly, and not necessarily dip their hands in the pockets of the local government councils. However, there is another issue here. Due to intensive and extensive research on the local government autonomy, we've found out that in some states, I won't mention names now, in some states, the state governors have gone behind the backs of everybody to the State House of Assembly to sign an MOU with the local government council chairman for a remittance of a certain percentage of the money, somewhat around 90-something%, back to the state government coffers when these federal allocations come in. Are these local government councils truly autonomous with this sort of situations happening?
Well, we live in a dynamic world in Nigeria, and every time you mention politics or administration in Nigeria, they always want to refer to the United States of America.
Yeah.
But it's so much unfortunate that tribalism and selective ways of running our system of government is killing us. And if we do not desist from that and cease from doing all these things, Nigeria has no way forward. We have to separate power. We have to separate godfatherism from governance if we want to have good governance. As you were saying that they had them sign an MOU. Now, I don't know. I haven't seen it, and I've not read it.
Well, it's still an investigation going on.
Well, and I would say maybe it's you cannot depend on what they say. Is there proof to that? But if it is true, I think it's going to defeat the purpose of autonomy. And I think, it just started. We should give it time. We should give
Well, certainly we should give it time. But of course, conversations surrounding the expectations of every single Nigerian towards the concept of the local government autonomy is one that must be had in forums or interviews like this. Don't you think so?
Yes, but let me digress a little bit.
Okay.
For us to move ahead in this nation, number one, we have to totally extrapolate tribalism from our way of life.
Yeah.
We have to say, well, we are Nigerians first before you're an Igbo man or Hausa man or Yoruba man. Once we can get to that level, I think it will be a lot better. And I'm going in towards patriotism. If we have patriotic citizens of a nation,
Yeah.
then we won't have to worry if you're Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba, to be in any position of power of government in Nigeria. We should look for competent people.
Yeah.
We should look for, regardless of what their background of ethnicity is, anybody that can do what is good to the populace and move Nigeria ahead. So the autonomy of local government, in my own opinion, and I don't know if it matters, but I think it's something that we should give a chance. I think it will change the narrative of governance at the local level, and we'll see more effective government in each and every state across the Nigeria. And I think it's something that's fantastic that we were able to attain during the tenure of President Tinubu. So it's a very welcome change, and I hope and I pray that the governors of every state will allow the autonomy.
Yeah.
And at the same time, the local government chairman has to be held accountable, of course, by going to the governor, letting them know this is what we're doing, having a dialogue so that they can be sync. Because it's still, at the end of the day, it's still the same state.
Yeah, it's still the same state.
Yeah, so they have to sync in their administrative policies and procedures. So I think it's a welcome.
Well, let me get your take on just one more issue, especially with regards to the local government autonomy. Let's go to River State, where we saw the local government polls that held and the entire theatrics that played out with the governor having to move, his chairmanship aspirants within his party to a different party to contest, and they almost swept the entire state, except for I think just one local government council that had a different party winning it. In situations like this, where the state governor has so much influence, so much power over this local government council chairman, where does the place of the political umpire, the state independent electoral commission, come in ensuring the fairness and the fairness of the elections?
Yeah, I won't sound like I'm judging, but what does being a political party mean? I mean, it's ideology, way of life and beliefs. So when a governor moves his people and his candidates to another party, what tells you about that person? What is the ideology of that party? What is the purpose of migrating or leaving one party to the other to achieve your goal? You know, you will never see a Republican become a Democrat overnight.
Just to win elections.
Yeah, just to win elections. You will never see a Democrat go become a Republican. They might go independent, but I don't understand how we practice politics in Nigeria. You know, so in my opinion, they're using any means necessary to stay in power.
To stay in power and clinch the
and that's not what democracy
is.
Democracy is not titled or defined to do what they did in Wabar, I believe, did in Port Harcourt, in River State.
Yes.
I personally don't know what the purpose is, but if we say we practice democracy, we should be able to go into the polls and let the people decide. And local government elections in most states, personally, I don't think it's democratically done. I don't think it's the will of the people. I'm from Kwara State.
It's mostly imposed by the state governors through the State Electoral Commission.
Don't let us indict the State Electoral Commission.
Well, they have been indicted in reports, especially from CSOs or election observers in these states where local government council polls have held in the last couple of months. The reports are there.
I understand that, but the foundation of this nation is shaken. It's crooked. It wasn't properly built. And when you have a shaken foundation, any building is going to collapse.
Well,
We
enlighten
have
us a little bit
we have
more.
a systemic problem here. You know, integrity is not in the land. And in a nation where there is no integrity, where there is no love and patriotic citizens,
Yeah.
we're bound to have all this. And in my opinion, and I say this very carefully, and I choose my word very carefully, the democratic system in Nigeria is at the zero level, in my opinion, whereby citizens' votes do not matter. I've ran an election. I ran for House of Representative in the last election, under the APC panel. And what I've seen and what I went through made me understand that this nation is not ready for a democratic process of voting. We have a lot to do. We have a long way to go. And it embitters me when I see such things happen in River State, whereby you move from a political party. The same thing happened in Edo State with Elder Moshood Male and his group
Exactly.
in Edo State.
In Edo.
What is the purpose of where are we going? Where's our ideology? Where's our beliefs in the process?
Well, many people describe such moves as tactical political play in such of. They describe it as a football field where the players themselves, who are the governors or the aspirants, have to be tactical in a way to win election.
By changing the political party?
Now, would you describe such moves? What is the basis, the legality of such move?
By changing political party?
Yes.
That
Just before elections.
That means there is no democracy.
Are we talking about, are we focusing now on the legality or in terms of credibility?
Well, legality, that's a word I wouldn't want to get into. But when it comes to personal beliefs, ideology, you wouldn't want to leave. For example, if you're a scientist,
Yes.
you won't get up one day and say you want to be an administrator. You want to stay in your lab and do your research.
And do my scientific things.
Absolutely. You do what you do best. You know, you do what you believe in. You want to create. You want to make things happen the way you think it should happen,
Yeah.
by putting chemicals together. So how do you all of a sudden just start and get away from that? So you want to be a mechanic and start changing tires and doing oil change and all that. So that's the concept that I'm looking at. If you say, well, I'm a Republican and I'm a progressive, or I'm a conservative,
Yeah.
your way should be in a conservative way. And if you're a liberal, your way should be liberal. So jumping from, we have no ideology and beliefs in political parties, being either you're a Republican or a conservative or a liberal.
Yeah.
They just want to win. And when you see an environment in a nation like that, it's not about the people, because when they get there, they won't do the will of the people. Anybody that wants to do the will of the people will submit themselves to the will of the people. We just had an election in the United States, and Donald Trump was elected as the president-elect of the United States. With all the chaos, with all the rhetoric and all the situation that has gone from the January 6th of 2021, was it 20 or 2021? At the nation's capital.
Yes.
The people still elected him the president of the United States.
With all the criminal charges leveled against him.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, he had more votes this time around than he did in 2016, in all local government counties in the United States.
Now, why do you think this happened? Is this due to his track record as former president, or due to the fact that... carry on.
We have a president of the United States today that is not doing the will of the people. You're taking billions and billions of dollars and giving it to Ukraine. So the people feel neglected. Its foreign policies are not there. And you know, the migrants that have been shipped to the United States, Americans don't like that. You know, you shipping migrants to the United States, they don't feel safe. The borders are open, and Americans...
And here they have a leader who is willing to
do all that and stop all that and do what they will. So it took back Arizona, it took back Georgia, it took back North Carolina, Wisconsin, Michigan, and all those places. That is the will of the people.
Fantastic take with the style of democracy in America. Let's go back to Nigeria. You are a member of the All Progressives Congress, the ruling party in the country.
Absolutely.
Now, your party has been accused severally, not just by the opposition PDP or the Labour Party, but observers of the political climate in Nigeria, of using that federal might to ensure that they sweep through state off-circle gubernatorial elections and local government polls across the country. Is this true? And how do you defend this?
Nigerians are always with the opinion that there is something called the federal might.
Well, isn't there a federal might? We have seen it played out.
Elaborate, because I don't know.
The federal might in simple terms. I will elaborate.
All right,
Federal
good.
might in simple terms. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the president.
Absolutely.
A member of the All Progressives.
Absolutely. And God's willing, 2027 will again.
Honorable Christopher wants to vie for governor of Kwara State.
Absolutely.
Kwara State.
Yes.
And then Honorable Christopher goes to President Tinubu,
Okay.
seeking for some sort of backing as the most senior official of the party
Right.
in governance.
Right.
You contest for elections,
Yes.
and somehow, miraculously,
Yeah.
or the will of the people plays out and you win.
Okay.
And the opposition party says, oh, it's because Honorable Christopher went to the president and the president pushed some buttons to influence your victory. This has been the narrative about the APC.
Well, Nigerians are never satisfied with anything they get. They always complain. They never find anything positive in anything that happens in this country. That has been in history for many years, since independence. We're never either satisfied with a leader. We're not satisfied with policies. We're not satisfied. So they have this persona of thinking, well, because he knows this, he knows that person, that's why he won. But yes, if you find, and I will tell you, if you do go to the president, and I've had people who are that close enough that can attest to what I'm saying, he will say, well, good, if your people want you, go ahead and battle. I've heard him say that before. So there's nothing, in my own opinion, federal might that I think they're referring to is finances to back your election.
Okay.
Well, to actually put you against the will of the people. I've not seen that. If that's the case, I would have been the House of Rep member.
Isn't the financing of the election or the financing of a certain candidate just because he's part of a political party also a huge factor in ensuring victory? I mean, elections don't
really
just come cheaply in Nigeria.
Yeah, but not really. But you have to understand, our democracy is not a point whereby people donate. In America, you have donors.
Okay.
They're not politicians; they're citizens. So if we have donors, if it's within the enclavement of governance and people in government that donate to your election, so be it. In America, you have donations. Anybody can donate to anybody they feel they want to win their election. So if we got to get to a point whereby you can donate to a political party, then I think all these federal might issues would not be said.
Well, I agree. Donations are there.
So federal might donate it.
Even though we don't make our own donations during elections very public, it's always in a hush-hush tone. But these monies being donated, let's also talk about the concept of vote buying, which is very common in our elections. I have seen this vote buying situation play out in the just concluded Ondo off-circle elections, in the Edo gubernatorial polls where Okpebolo won the election and all, with election observers citing that people would be on queue trying to exercise their civil franchise, and then party agents, mostly party agents of the All Progressives Congress, would come in with monies, canvassing for votes while people are queuing up to vote. Now, I'm not just making this up.
Absolutely. But as a citizen, can't you say no? Don't you have the right to say no? I'm not taking your money. I'm going to vote my conscience.
Not if they're thinking of where their next meal will come from.
So is it the problem of the APC?
Interesting.
Or is it a general problem of the citizens themselves? For a nation to thrive, the citizens are also involved in any nation to thrive. So is it the problem of the APC or the PDP? It starts with us. We have to take responsibility as citizens of this nation. If we want changes in this nation, it has to start with us, from our homes, because everybody in government are a product of the environment. So I don't think it's an APC issue. You can offer me $1 million now, and I'll tell you I don't want it to do certain things. I can say no.
Now, Honorable, that brings us to the crux of the matter, the challenges bedeviling our political space. When we talk about these challenges, now we're not just talking about at the party level or at the governance level. We're also talking about the electorates, the people who are being governed by the governors and the lawmakers and even the president. What major challenge do you think is bedeviling our political space that is stunting the growth of our democracy in the country? since inception in 1999?
Well, I would say lack of patriotism.
Oh.
Now, we are not patriotic. I look at the social media all around and I see Nigerian nation is the only nation that I see that speaks evil about their government, that speak evil about their nation, that doesn't praise anything any leaders of this nation does. And the power of tongue is very powerful. If we don't learn how to endure and how to understand that things do take time, we have a problem. Nigerians want something to happen almost immediately.
Yeah.
You know, Rome was not built in a day. Now, Nigeria here is, what, 65, 66 years old? Yes, we need more changes. This nation is blessed to a level whereby Dubai shouldn't have anything on Nigeria. I remember many years ago, but people used to come from Saudi Arabia to UCH to have medical attention. Our doctors and nurses, and they live in the nation. Yes, it's understandable. But a nation to be built, to be a great nation takes time.
Yeah.
There were times in Europe when they were migrating to North Africa because of the economical problems. So every nation goes through it. So what we have to know is to endure. There are times, because good times are coming. But it cannot come if we don't have right policies in place and the right people to implement those policies, which brings me to a point whereby we don't need to even borrow money anymore.
Mm.
You know, if we keep borrowing, inflation will rise, and if we keep borrowing, the government won't have money for the infrastructures that is necessary for the population. So we need to be systemic in what we do and be calculative in the people that we put there to implement these policies for things to ease up for the citizens.
Yes.
Now look, man, we have trillions of dollars out there of stolen loots of money that Nigeria has. So why should we borrow money? Why can't we pursue these monies that were stolen?
Yes.
You know, there was about a year or two ago, there was an Abacha loot that came in during the Buhari administration. Oh. In fact, this same Donald Trump was one that approved it to be sent to Nigeria. He didn't want to send it because he was thinking that when they send it,
it will be looted.
It will be looted again. And some people in the United States that I know of pressured the Congress and to pressure Donald Trump to release that money. Yeah. Why can't we go back to those set of people that brought those funds? I think it was about $100 billion. Listen, if we can, by 2025, I know for a fact, those people can recover $50 billion for us. Yeah. So if we put $5 billion into infrastructures, health, youth empowerment and all that, and ingest it into our economy, Nigeria would be a better place.
Well, Honorable, quite brilliant takes you've made here. You said something that made me remember the words of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, where you said that Nigerians just have to endure the hard times until it gets better.
Absolutely.
I agree with you on that, on the fact that you sounded almost like the president.
Well, he didn't put those words in my mouth.
And on the second hand, you cited that we don't need to continue borrowing to make our country better. Now, mind you, the National Assembly recently approved a bill, a loan request by the presidency to the tune of $2.2 billion US, just to sort of complement the 2024 fiscal year budget that has been passed. If such monies continue to be borrowed, especially by the presidency, and yet you, an APC member, is against it.
Well, I'm not been against. I'm talking economy.
Okay.
I'm saying we have money we can pursue.
Instead of borrowing.
I'm saying there are people that I know that can get this looted fund back for us. I'm saying this money is out there. It's ours. But because some people don't want these funds in here because I don't know why, but I think we have people that are already trying to get it.
Yes.
When we spoke about this proceeds, some people are trying to use their ability and their power to go get, but it's deeper than that.
It appears that during the former administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, we had more of the Abacha looted funds.
Absolutely.
Repatriated to the country.
Absolutely.
More than we are seeing it being done within the current administration. Is there something anywhere that the former administration did that we are not seeing being implemented?
Well, what happened when those funds came in? the so-called commission or the fees that was supposed to be paid to those group of people that was never paid. So right now, our government can go and preamble and go whatever they want to do. If they don't pay those fees to those people, no funds will be coming in. A couple of months ago, the Attorney General came up and said they got some funds from France. Well, that money is never in Nigeria yet. As you're now aware, any funds that goes through the SWIFT system, I don't care anywhere in the world, American government has a say in it because of the SWIFT system.
Yeah.
So because of the lack of arrangements that was made that was not fulfilled by our government by paying those proceeds, the fees that was brought in, and the fees that was supposed to be paid for the proceeds that was brought in to those individuals that did make sure that that money was released to us, is a problem why those funds are not coming in right now. And we've told Mr. President several times. I don't know whether it's gone to his tables or whatever, but I'm sure if we can put more pressure on the process to be done and do right by those people that brought the abacha loot into our nation, I guarantee you, man, I'll put my life on it because I know what I know. By 2025, America will release $50 billion into our economy. And that goes a long way.
2025
it's around the corner.
Just around the corner.
All we have to do is do the right thing. So those people involved will pressure the U.S. Congress because there's a law which I'm not going to go into.
And when you say
now.
the right thing, do you care to let us in a little bit into?
No, I'm not going to go into that.
This wealth of knowledge that you have about how these funds can be repatriated.
No, I'm not going to go into that.
Well, just a sneak peek.
But I can tell you this: our government, no, we've spoken to a couple of people. We've made moves to a couple of people. And I'm saying this with great integrity about it. And I believe if without saying no names, I believe if the right step is taken and the right thing is done, funds we're borrowing will not be necessary. We will have those funds there. This proceeds have been stolen for many years. It's been going out. We have account numbers. We have where those proceeds are. We just need to have the right authorization, so to speak, from our government and the right fees to be paid as agreed from the last looted funds that was brought into those people so they can bring more money in.
To be released.
That's all it takes.
Let's focus on another pertinent issue that most opposition parties have been vocal about it. Something that has sparked controversy in the country. The number of foreign trips made by the president and the vice president, Senator Kashim Shettima. Now, I have a list of trips logged here. It says a total of 42 trips have been logged, 26 countries visited, over 220 flight hours amassed collectively by the president and the vice president. Now, the president has only been in power for a little over a year now. Currently, he's not in the country.
He's in France.
He's in South Africa.
Oh, well.
Well, you see exactly why there's a spike in controversy. Because he's always traveling.
Well, you have to understand, our foreign policies and our foreign interests has to be defended and addressed. We do not have ambassadors yet, all deployed to all these nations. So yes, it is understandable for their trips. Until we have ambassadors in all those countries around the world, it is the duty of the president and the vice president to address. And as you know, I was a special advisor on international relations. So this is where I'm well privy to.
Okay, fantastic.
So they all these trips that they make is to the interest of the nation, because the ambassadors that are needed to do those jobs in those countries are not currently there because they have to vet them here. They have to look at their background, and that's why it's taking time. So once we have those ambassadors, I'm sure President Tinubu and Vice President would like to kick back in the country and see to the will of the people.
And manage the affairs of the nation.
Absolutely.
But most critics have asked, where do you draw the line between diplomacy and sort of domestic needs, where diplomacy in terms of the trip that the president made to France recently under the invitation of the French President Emmanuel Macron, and now he has moved to South Africa for the Nigeria-South Africa
Exynovia and all that stuff.
Exactly, the meeting that he's supposed to have with the South African president there. In as much as we are exploring diplomatic ties and trying to attract a lot of foreign direct investment into the country. How do we strike a balance between pursuing these FDIs and diplomacy outside the country and ensuring that our domestic needs here within the country are also not neglected?
Well, it's not the president alone that does these things. You have Congress, which is also from National
The
Assembly,
National Assembly, yes.
consisting of the Senate and the House. It is a duty of the president to, you want to draw a balance. No, like I said to you earlier, if the president was here and we had ambassadors will be delegated to do those things that the president doing. And currently we do not have. Okay, so I wouldn't blame the president, in my own opinion, and from my exposure, from making all these trips. If we had a Nigerian ambassador to South Africa, the president would delegate by a phone call. I need you to do this. I need you to do that. We have issues with this certain things, and he does that. But we haven't had in 18 months. So in turns, do you turn down an invitation by another nation?
Well, most
as you know, France. Go ahead.
Most people's concerns is not the fact that the president is going there, but rather the number of persons, government officials, forming part of his entourage.
He's reduced that. I've read that several times, that even mandated that this number of people coming with me has to be reduced. He's addressed that. I mean, we have to be fair to the man.
Well, certainly.
We have to praise our president.
We saw persons like the Enugu state governor with the president in France. We saw persons like
maybe he speaks French.
The FCT. well, I wouldn't know. The FCT minister was in France as well, alongside other top government officials from different parts of the country. Accompanying the president to France. And at this point, what people are worried about is not just these visitations, but the cost of governance. In a bid to reduce the cost of governance, yes, the president has said that he will reduce the number of his entourage. But is there a need for persons like the Enugu state governor or even the FCT minister to have accompanied the president?
Absolutely. There's a reason why. You see development around your FCT. I just came from the United States a couple of days ago.
Okay.
And things that I haven't seen in a long time is here now.
Fantastic. He's doing a brilliant job.
The minister, Wike.
Yes, the minister.
He probably went to France. I think he went to France to learn more about infrastructure development that he wants to bring to FCT. As you can see, he's doing his work here. I mean, why can't we just go about and say, this guy's doing something good and worrying about that he traveled? The bottom line is you don't know why he's traveled with the president. I would think, in my own learned opinion, he went there to learn more about infrastructure, things that he can bring into Nigeria. Governor of Enugu State, I don't know him, but maybe he speaks French. There must be a reason why the president has chosen those people to travel with him. That's where I'm trying to get to. I'm not trying to be funny. But if you see anybody in the president's entourage, I believe and I trust the president to make the right judgment of the reason why they're with him. So they're not just there to go play or to go just kick the bobo over there, like some people say. But they're there for the purpose of our nation to make Nigeria. But listen, this is a great nation here. Nigeria is the most populous nation in Africa.
Nation,
If you go anywhere and around the world, not only in the United States, our people excel pretty well. We're intellectuals. We just need to be given the environment to excel. So our president and the entourage traveling are trying to do their best to let people understand and change the image of this nation, that our nation is not what they portray to be. When the West points a finger, and they can damage a nation just with a stroke of a pen, or just with somebody just saying something. And we need to rebrand the face of Nigeria. We've been bastardized. Our nation has been bastardized, and with many administrations, they don't see the good in us. They only talk about the bad. But yet, the good in us are the one making their nation excel. So I believe that, when our leaders travel, they're not going there to play. We have to sell ourselves. We have to make sure that World Bank, Okonjo-Iweala was there. If you know a nation, you give us a loan and you give it 35%. Some other nations, their debts were been forgiven. Why can't we fight for that? So when they go, there's a lot at play. I'm saying this not because
on the sidelines of the visit itself.
Yeah, not because I'm an APC member, but I'm saying this from an economic point of view and what I have experienced and seen over the years. So don't let us worry about what they're spending. Let's worry about what the results will be from their travels. And we should encourage them. Everybody loves what they say in Abuja now. Wike is working,
Yeah, we keep
isn't he?
working.
All right then, let's praise him. He's not a Barry man. He's not an Hausa man. He's not Nupe, you know. But he sees himself as a Nigerian. If FCT is not his home state or home, but he's trying to make Nigeria great again.
Yeah.
So and that's what we want. And those are the things. If the right people are put in the right place, don't let us chastise them. Let us praise them. In fact, out of all the ministers, in my own opinion, he's doing pretty well.
And
Because
he's not even a member of the APC.
He's not even an APC. Like I said earlier, he's a Nigerian.
He's a Nigerian.
So he's a Nigerian first, before a party member. He's a bona fide PDP member. And so Mr. President chose right.
Yeah.
He chose the right man for the right job. And he's delivered. That's what we should be looking at. Those are the kind of people, if I was president of Nigeria, those are the kind of people I put in my administration.
Well, in talking about inclusivity and opportunities surrounding our political arena, you have just cited the FCT Minister Barrister Nyesom Wike being a staunch a PDP member, now working in an APC administration in one of the juiciest positions that
In this country,
in
Nigeria.
his country as Minister of the FCT, tantamount to a governor of the FCT where the president is domiciled.
Right.
Do you see the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu exploring more hands like that of Barrister Nyesom Wike, who are not necessarily affiliated to the APC, in order to sort of explore their potential in helping build the country?
I hope he does. I'll give you a simple example.
Okay.
One of the Kennedys was just employed by Trump. A Kennedy who's a lifelong liberal, a Democrat, was just employed by Donald Trump, who's a Republican.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't think political parties should come in place of moving the nation forward. The Republicans and the Democrats, they feed together. When it comes to talking about the nation, they're one.
Yeah.
So I don't think the ideology of the fact that I'm APC or PDP should be taken aside. We should come together and embrace ourselves to make Nigeria a better nation. I don't care what party you belong in, as long as your ideology is to move forward. That's the spirit we need in this country today, and that's where we should be going. So I applaud the president for even bringing Honorable Wike into his administration. I hope he brings more people in that level of capacity.
Maybe in the capacity of the ambassadorial roles that you mentioned earlier that have been vacant for
Absolutely.
18 months.
If they can make our nation a better nation and have a better face wherever they sent them, so be it. It shouldn't be about, he did this well during the election, or no. It's about capacity. It's about level of intellectual and able to deliver.
Yeah.
That's what we should be looking at. Not because he's somebody's son or he's somebody's friend. That's not what brings a nation ahead. It's something that draws a nation back, because if he's not capable, he doesn't have the capacity, then he will not be able to deliver.
Another thing that has sort of drawn a divide amongst Nigerians is well, I have no personal opinion on this, but I would want to get yours. The son of the president, that's Sheyi Tinubu, sort of hinted about his ambition of becoming Lagos State governor. Now, mind you, this is somebody that has been at the forefront of the president's campaign team or campaign train during the campaigns before the elections. He was quite vocal, he was quite active, he was everywhere campaigning for his father's presidency. And then he wants to be governor of Lagos State. And people are citing that, why does he want to be governor when his dad is already president? That they are still trying to use that federal might to impose him on Lagos State, on the people of Lagos State. Do you think that such critics are being fair to Sheyi Tinubu? Or what are we looking at? What's the situation?
Let me make an observation. Number one,
Okay.
I've never heard Sheyi Tinubu say he wants to be governor. There are rhetorics out there who says he should go be governor.
Okay.
But I'll say this to you. If he wants to be governor, there is nothing wrong with it. All right? The reason why I said so is George Bush, 2 of his sons were governor in the United States. One was in Florida, and the other one was in Texas. And eventually one became Texas, the president of the United States.
Yes.
John Quincy Adams, his grandfather was president of the United States. And he became president of the United States. There is nothing wrong as long as he has capacity. So if any youth is interested, listen, man, I'm pained when our youths talk about things like that. You know, because we gave one an opportunity. The governor of Kogi State, well, he was a youth. He's still a youth,
He's
right?
still a youth, yes.
Look at the atrocities he committed in that state. So it's not the fact. If you have capacity, step up, come out. Nobody's hindering anybody to come run to be either governor or House of Rep member. If you have the capacity, come out. I don't see it anywhere in the Constitution, and I've read the Constitution of Nigeria, that hinders persons that is, at least you have to have your college, primary school education. Secondary school. It doesn't even say whether you fail or pass, so you don't even have to go.
Just have the certificate.
Yeah, you don't. So all these people writing up fake papers. No, it doesn't say if you fail or pass. It says have a secondary school education. That's what it says. So anybody who's a citizen of this country, who's inclined, who wants to come, let them come out. If they want to be Lagos State governor, let them come out. But going back to Sheyi, I've not heard them. I've seen a lot of people saying they should be, but I personally don't let us indict the young man because he hasn't said anything. It's a difference from saying, go do this, we want you to do this, and say, I want to be. And if he decides to say he wants to be, it's his constitutional right, regardless of him being the son of the president. Yeah. That's the law. So we need to separate sentiments from what the actual law says in our nation. And if he can do it, he can do it. It's not about imposing anybody on anybody.
It's about credibility, about the willpower to...
Absolutely. Can he serve the people? Look, man, if you can serve and if you can... Listen, I will vote for him. You know why? Because he learned from the best.
From his father. Okay.
Absolutely. So why wouldn't you want somebody like that to run? And his father ran Lagos State pretty well. Thank God Almighty, we can see it all. So if he wants to run, I would encourage him to run. And I'm not from Lagos State.
Well, certainly you are from Kwara State. You have reiterated that. In the topic of election cost now in Nigeria, it's one major problem that has bedeviled and sort of deterred a lot of people, well-meaning Nigerians who aspire to be political office holders from even contesting. Elections don't come cheap. I believe you know this because you have vied for a political post in the country.
Absolutely.
Is this a norm globally, especially in democratic settings? Or is our own political setting polarized in such a way that you have to have money, lots of money, individually, not just donations now, to be able to vie for a political office?
I will keep going back to the United States of America because that's where we learn our democracy from. We say we've followed the democracy of the United States.
Yes.
I can tell you now that 98% of people in Congress in the United States are millionaires. And you know why that's so?
Why?
When you get into the office, you've worked your life, you've made money, you've seen money. You will not be enticed into public funds.
Yeah.
You don't want to worry about thieving. You don't worry about corruption. It helps you and encourages you not to do because you already have it.
Yes.
My point is this: if you don't have money in Nigeria, why would you want to go into politics? A lot of people go there to embezzle and steal and thief public funds.
And then use part of it to fight court cases.
Well, I didn't say all that. But I think we should have a criteria that if you're not financially sound, you shouldn't be in public office.
Well, the criteria is already there because, like I said earlier, elections don't come cheap. You spend tens of millions vying for an office as small as a local government council chairmanship.
Where did you get that statistics from?
Well, certainly it is there. I don't think
there's got to be. You cannot say that. There is no statistics. That is a personal opinion.
Okay.
I had a friend, may so rest in peace, Honorable Amapati.
He vied for chairmanship without any funds.
No, he was a 3 terms House of Rep member from Kwara. May so rest in peace, my dear brother and friend. He's never spent more than 10 million naira for election.
As a House of Reps member?
Absolutely. Go on record. It's there.
Now, when was this?
The 6th, the 7th, and the 8th Congress.
Well, Honorable, that was such a long time ago.
8th Congress was less than 8 years ago.
If
he ran for office today...
If you compare our economy 8 years ago and what it is right now in terms of the ratio of dollar to the naira, it's quite different.
My point to you is this. Even if he ran for election today, he won't spend more than that.
More than
because 10 why? He has the will of the people. When you have the will of your people, you don't need money. You might need money for logistics and stuff, or to pay, like you said, your word, buying votes, you won't need that because your people want you. And if I can tell you today, if Shaitanbu runs for governor of Lagos State,
Lagos State.
if he has the will of the people, he won't need to spend.
Oh,
You know?
interesting. Yeah.
So we have people like that all around states that they are philanthropists, that they've done a lot for the people. That if you just let them say, we'll give you this person, the people will vote. But because of sometimes in our nation, our votes are manipulated, and it happens everywhere around the world. That's why you go into what you said, the court cases. That's where those court cases come in. You know, some people actually won the election, but they didn't win the election. So it happens. So, but I don't want you to think that if you don't have money, you can't run for an election, or that you use billions or hundreds and thousands of naira,
Millions of naira.
yeah, to run an election. Believe you me, today you're talking local government, which is your environment,
Yes.
right? And if your people want you, do you think any amount of money is going to stop them from wanting you?
Well, that will be decided at the polls when I perhaps contest for chairmanship of my own local government.
And I encourage you should. You know, if I run for local government in my own enclavement,
Yes.
I won't have a problem. I won't need to spend because of things that I have done over the years for our people. You see, if you truly have the love of people in your heart and you've shown it to your people and they've seen what you've done, you won't even need for them to say, hey, go run for election. They'll carry you and say, go do this for us. Yeah. So that is the problem. Most of our people there today, they just come from nowhere, and they entice people with money because most of our people are poor. And you know, when you're hungry and you're poor, you tend to want to follow what brings you happiness at that present time. You know, but again,
which is the money factor.
And then again, it goes to the citizens, not the government. Our people need to know how to say no. This is what we want in our nation. Without us, there is no nation. Without us, you cannot rule because who's you going to rule? So the people have the power. The people have to be able to say no. The people have to make their choices to the people, to the electorate,
yes,
and say this is what we want. For example, if you voted for me and the electorate says not me, they could get up and say, look, this is like what happened in the United States, January 6th. Yeah. I bet you very soon Donald Trump will say, I'm the only president of the United States that was elected 3 times, but God stole me 1 time. And I tried to tell you guys. No, so it is. So the will of the people, and that's why the people got up January 6th, 2020 in the United States and went to the Capitol. Yeah. Said, no, this is who we voted for. So until our people start making their desires and wants and their vote counts, this is what we want, then these people will do what they want.
There's something else I want you to touch on. We have just about 5 minutes to wrap up this conversation on the program. And it's on the issue of the tax reform bills, which is a bill that has already passed second reading at the National Assembly. Earlier on the program, I had one of our guests touch on it, but I also want you to touch on it, being that, you know, governors from the northern parts of the country are kicking really hard against it. Some lawmakers from the northern region are citing some sort of regional bias from the part of the presidency now with regards to the bill, citing that it would sort of stunt the growth of their region.
Well, I'm not privy to the tax reform and the policies that comes with it because I've been away out of the country for a year, and I've not totally followed that tax reform bills. But if I should make an opinion on tax reform, our nation is a nation where people don't pay taxes, but they want everything out of government.
They want everything.
So if the tax bill, because without taxes, government can have proceeds and create budget. But if the tax reform is taxing according to the way you can generate it from either your state or your local government, I think it's okay. Because with taxes is what we can use to sustain government. So, like I said, I'm not privy to all that information, so I cannot speak on it. But I think taxation to a certain level is good, because when you have taxation, then you have representation. So people can represent. You can tell your government, listen, man, you're not doing this. They can hold the government accountable
because they are paying these taxes, and the government is running on taxpayers'
Absolutely.
money.
So
but people have argued that with the tax reform bill coming into play, on one hand, it is good, especially with regards to the personal income tax, where people will be taxed based on their level of income around the country. so that at this point, if people have described the situation as if a market woman wants to buy a bottle of water, she buys it for about 250 naira or so, and she's taxed. She pays VAT on it. And if somebody like Dangote or Tony Elumelu wants to buy the same bottle of water in the same place, he's taxed the same 7.5% on VAT. But with the coming of the new tax reform bill, these taxes will be different based on the person's personal income. How the FIRS intends to do that is what I don't know, but the personal income tax is one of the most welcomed parts of that tax reform bill. In situations like this, why do you think a certain part of the country continues to kick against it, especially with the sharing ratio not necessarily falling in favor of states that don't generate much revenue for the federal government?
That's something that baffles me. Taxation shouldn't be a burden to anybody, and at the same time should be something that is affordable based on income. And so, but how do you do that? That's an Acrylian tax for the government when you have a group of people paying a level of tax and another group of people. Taxation shouldn't be that. Personal income tax.
Yes,
we're talking about.
Yes.
So if like the example you've given me, like going into the store and Dangote buys something, he pays different tax, and I come in there, I pay a different tax. It shouldn't be so with VAT. That should be universal. But when it comes to your personal income tax, when you're making 100 million and I'm making 10,000 naira, then of course the tax bracket should be different.
Yeah.
So like I said, I'm not totally privy to the information. I could actually tell you that I'm hearing this for the first time, but in taxation should be based on the income that you make
of the individual,
of an individual that you do, and business taxation should be separate from individual taxation. So the rates and the percentage obviously and definitely should be different from one another.
Well, we have just about 2 minutes to wrap up the conversation. Let's move away from the tax reform bill now and back to the political landscape.
Right.
In just about 2 minutes.
Right.
We have talked about the challenges. We have talked about exploring the opportunities. Let's talk about a way out of this lacuna that we are in politically. Looking at Nigeria holistically from the federal to the state and local government level, what sort of overhaul do you think requires?
We need to take Nigeria first. When we take Nigeria first, everything else will follow. We need to love our nation and take all the personal ideologies and gain aside, and let's move this nation forward. BU, PDP, APC, Labour Party, whatever party you belong into, our goal and our main issue should be how to develop this nation together as one. Our ideologies and wants might be different, but we should have a common ground. And when we do have a common ground, whatever happens internally in each party shouldn't affect our nation.
Yeah. So
once we do that, I think we'll have a better nation, because then we'll have all kinds of intellectual minds from all parties coming together to work together as one, in my own opinion.
Well, Honorable Christopher, I must thank you so much. It's been a very wonderful conversation with you here on the program.
I enjoyed being here.
Deliberating on topical issues in the country.
Thank you so much.
You.
Have a good day.